Today I'm going to make one of my favorite soup, and I got this from my daughter-in-law Kara. It's just a really good soup. It's a tortellini soup. You start with 1 pound of Italian sausage. I like the mild. This I got at Walmart. They have it most places. Some places it just doesn't say if it's mild or spicy, and I do like the more mild. So come on over to my stove and I'll show you how I brown it. Okay, here's my package of Italian sausage. Just open that up, put it in, and make sure you take off the little piece of paper on the bottom. I've done it. I've not done it sometimes. Turn on to quite high. And this little tool, we've talked about this a little bit before. This is just a really handy tool, mostly for chopping up meat. I like it for doing frozen orange juice, things like that. It kind of has a little bit of a sharp edge to it. And as I do it, I just kind of turn it. Get out a hot pad here. Kind of see if you can see what I'm doing here. I just kind of do a little wrist action. You don't want to make it mince, real tiny meat. You want some clumps. So just get it off in between there. So I just want to show you how to use this cool tool, and it's so handy, it makes it worthwhile. So as it warms up, it's easier to chop up. Okay, now this is about how I like it. Just make sure all the pink's gone. It will boil in the soup, so you just want to brown it. And it's small little pieces. It could be a little coarser. When I got it to the coarseness I like, I just use this to stir it. I don't twist it and cut it up as much. A couple of times during the cooking, I did have to take a knife and kind of go in between it a little bit. But as you are, as it's hot, it doesn't stick in there very much. It's well worth it. And also, as I was doing it, I noticed that the pot holder I had grabbed was made by a dear friend. So it's wonderful to have friends that give you things and makes you happy when you're cooking and you're thinking of them. So now we head back up to the counter. Okay, well, I am making this soup because today would have been my mother's birthday. And she died when we were young, and so I invited my brother and sister and their spouses over for dinner. They're the two of my 4 siblings that live in the area, so we're going to have a little birthday party for our mother, and I thought this would be a perfect thing to eat. So I have the sausage in here, and I just add I add a cup of water, and it calls for 2 cans of beef broth. Often, I don't use beef broth that often, so I'm just going to put 4 cups of water because 2 cans is about 4 cups. And then I just use this powder. For each cup, use a teaspoon of beef powder. So we'll just do 1, 2, 3, 4. I did the separate cup with this for demonstration purposes, but if I were knowing I'd do it, I'd just do 5 cups of water and put the 4 teaspoons of beef powder to it. This is a Knorr's. I'm sure there's other brands. The next thing I do is it calls for 1/2 cup of apple juice. And I don't drink apple juice very often. So I will, I buy it in these little containers, and they're almost 7 ounces, 6.76 fluid ounces. So what I'm gonna do is stick this in there and then just squeeze. I'm gonna just estimate 3/4 of this, 2/3, something in there, and leave just a little bit in. If I were doubling the batch, I'd just put 1 carton in. It's one of those recipes that it just has to be close. And next I do 2 cans of tomato sauce. Now each can of tomato sauce is 8 ounces. So if I wanted to, I could just use, this is a double one. It's not quite double, it's 15 ounces. But in soup it doesn't matter that much. And then I'm not at my sink, so I'm just pouring a can of water in each one. It's kind of nice because it cleans it out and adds the water into it. Oops. Okay. The other thing we need is 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. It gives it a little tang. Oops, a little more. Like I said, you can change things to your taste. If you like spicy sausage, put it in. Next, the spices. It takes 2 cloves of garlic, and 1 clove is like a teaspoon of this minced, already prepared garlic. I really like using this. So it's 1, 2, you can get it in most produce sections where I find it. And then you do a teaspoon each of oregano, and sweet bay salt leaf. And then you could use fresh parsley. I usually just use the dried. If you're using fresh parsley, chopped, about 4 tablespoons. I'm using dried, so I'm going to just put in 2 tablespoons. And then next is the vegetables. One small onion. I already have that chopped. This is just a sweet yellow onion. I've used red, any kind of onion. And then 1 cup of sliced carrots. I just use the little already prepared carrots. So I'll just show you how I cut them. If there's a little end, it's like this one doesn't have anything on the ends, but nobody wants that in their soup. So just cut that out. And what I do is 4 or 5 line them up, take a pretty good knife, not your smallest knife, and then just take it and you can just go down on it. Just kind of rock from the front to the back, and you can get them done, chopped pretty fast. So just put that in. Now, about a cup, if you like a little more of one thing or another, put it in. Also 1 cup of zucchini, and about a half of a green pepper. You can use red, whatever color you want. Green's usually the cheapest, but if you want some different color, you can use that. So that's pretty much all that's in it. I'll take this and I'll boil it for about a half hour or longer, and then just before I'm ready to serve, I'll put in the tortellini. Now I have used this mostly as just the cheese tortellini, and this package is about 19 ounces, a little over a pound. And I usually put the whole thing in. I also have used this dried tortellini. And you can get them in packages. I've got this in the bulk section of Winco, and I'll put the amount in there. If you use the dried, you probably use you'll use a little more water, and I'll have that in the recipe that there will be a link to. So the thing that I don't like is it's great for leftover and freezes really well, but the pasta kind of swells. It tastes good. It's just not as good. So if I know I'm going to be doing more for leftovers, I will go this far and cook it, get it all ready, and then cool it and put it in containers and freeze it. And then when I'm going to serve it, I thaw it out, heat it, and just put some tortellini in. So I'm going to finish cooking this, and then I'll show you the final product and tell you how it tastes. Well, the soup's all done, and it looks good and smells good. I'm just going to taste it now, where the people are coming in just a little while. Tortellini looks good. It's really a good soup. Okay, we're back, and we're eating the tortellini soup. We're at my mother's birthday party with my brother and his wife, my husband, and Diana and her husband. And you'll notice our parents are on the wall, one of the few pictures we have of our mother and father together. So what do you think?
Very good.
Really very good.
Well, thank you. Hope you like the recipe.